Yvonne. Are you joking? You're not getting on my nerves. Oh, why should you be getting on my nerves? He's getting on my nerves. It's true. He's getting on my nerves. It's this ingratiating tone of voice, a little smile behind every word. It's as if he's forcing himself to be pleasant. Don't be pleasant. Whatever you do, don't be pleasant. Could it be buying the Artois? Could buying the Artois have triggered off this feeling of constraint between us? Buying something without his backing? Fuck his backing! Fuck your backing, Mark!
Could it be the Artois? Buying the Artois? No.
It started some time ago. To be precise, it started the day we were discussing some work of art, and you uttered quite seriously the word deconstruction. It wasn't so much the word deconstruction that upset me, it was this air of solemnity you imbued it with. You said humorlessly, unapologetically, without a trace of irony, the word deconstruction. Hugh, my friend. I wasn't sure how best to deal with this situation, so I made this throwaway remark. I said, I must be getting intolerant in my old age. And you answered, who do you think you are? What makes you so high and mighty? What gives you the right to set yourself apart? Serge answered in the bloodiest possible way. And quite unexpectedly, you're just Mark. What makes you think you're so special? That day, I should have punched him in the mouth. And when he was lying there on the ground, half dead, I should have said to him, you're supposed to be my friend. What sort of friend are you, Serge, if you don't think your friends are special? You an ace, did you say? A bit heavy, isn't it? A bit fatty? All those sausages? What do you think?
12 minutes past 8. Where the...
Sword crisis, insoluble problem, major crisis. Both stepmothers put their names on the wedding invitation. Catherine adores her stepmother, who more or less trains her. She wants it. She wants it. Their stepmother's not anticipating, which is understandable, of course, since her mother's dead, not appearing next to her father. Whereas my stepmother, whom I detest, it's not the question her name should appear on the invitation. My father refuses to have his name on it at first instant, unless, of course, Catherine's stepmother is left off, which is completely unacceptable. So I suggested none of the parents' names should be on the invitation. After all, we're not adolescents. We can announce and invite people ourselves. Well, Catherine screamed her head off, saying that was a slap in the face to her parents for paying out the nose for the reception, and more importantly, to her stepmother, who had gone to all this trouble to raise her when she isn't even her own daughter. And finally, I let myself be persuaded against my better judgment. I finally agreed that my stepmother, whom I detest, who's a complete bitch, will have her name on the wedding invitation. So I phoned my mother to warn her. Mother, I said, I've done everything I can to avoid this, but we have absolutely no choice. Yvonne's name has to appear on the invitation. Well, if Yvonne's name's on the invitation, leave mine off of it. Mother, please, I'm begging you, don't make things even more difficult than they already are. Well, why are you suggesting that my name be left to float around on the corner on its own as if it was something very wonderful that Yvonne will be claimed as your father's surname like a leech? Mother, I have to go meet my friends. We'll talk about this tomorrow. Why is it I'm always an afterthought? Mother, what are you talking about? You're not always an afterthought. Of course I am. When you say don't make things even more difficult, what you're really saying is that everything's been decided, everything's been organized without me, everything's been cooked up by my mother. Good old you get. She'll agree to anything. And then she said this with a good old tinkling on anything, which I'm having some trouble grasping. Mother, I have to go meet my friends. That's right, something's always more important than I am. Goodbye. And she hung up. Well, Catherine, who was listening on the other end and heard her side of the conversation, said, what did she say? I said she doesn't want her name on the invitation with Yvonne, which is understandable. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What did she say about the wedding? Nothing. You're lying. No, I'm not, Catherine. I swear she just doesn't want her name on the invitation with Yvonne. Well, you need to call her back and tell her that when your son's getting married, you rise above your vanity. Well, you could say the same to your stepmother. That's not what I do. She screamed at me. I'm the one who's insisting her name on it, not her. Poor thing. She's not personified. If she had any idea of the trouble this was causing, she'd be down on her hands and knees begging for forgiveness. Now call her back. So I called my mother back. By this time, I'm in shreds. Yvonne! Up until now, you've conducted your affairs in the most chaotic way possible. And just because out of the blue you've decided to embark on matrimony, I find myself obliged to spend all day and evening with your father, a man whom I haven't seen for 17 years and to whom I wasn't hoping to reveal my hip sides and puffy cheeks to. Not to mention Yvonne, who incidentally, according to Felix Perolari, has taken up bridge. My mother also plays bridge. I can see that none of this can be helped, but on the invitation to one thing everyone's going to read and analyze, I insist on making a solo performance. Well, Catherine, who was on the other end, shook her head and scrunched up her face in disgust. Mother, why are you being so selfish? I got selfish, Yvonne. You're not going to be like Madame Romero this morning and say that I have a heart of stone, that everyone in the family has a heart of stone because I won't raise her wages. She's not completely mad, by the way. The 60 euros an hour tax-free, she had the gall to say that everyone in the family has a heart of stone when she knows about poor Andre's pacemaker. You haven't even bothered to drop him a line, by the way. Oh, yeah, that's right. Everything's funny. Everything's a joke to you, Yvonne. See, I'm not the selfish one. You are. You've got a lot to learn about the world, my little boy. Now, go on, and see your precious friends.
Then what?
Then nothing! Nothing's been resolved. I hung up, meeting drama with Catherine cut short because I was late.
Why do you let yourself be pushed around by all these women?
Why do I let myself be pushed around? I don't know! They're all insane!
You've gained weight.
Of course I have! 20 pounds, purely through stress!
Read Seneca.
Davida Beta. Just what I need. What's he suggest?
It's a masterpiece.
Oh?
He hasn't read it.
Oh.
No, but Sarah just told me it's a masterpiece.
I said it was a masterpiece because it is a masterpiece.
Quite.
It's a masterpiece.
Why are you getting annoyed?
You seem to be insinuating that I use the word masterpiece at the slightest excuse.
Not at all.
You said the word in a kind of sarcastic...
Not at all.
Yes, the word masterpiece in a kind
Is
of...
he crazy? Not at all. However, when you use the word, you qualify it by saying incredibly modern.
So?
You said incredibly modern, as if modern was the highest compliment you could give. As if when describing something, you couldn't think of anything more admirable, more profoundly admirable than modern.
You really need me today.
No, I'm not.
If you're not going to quarrel like this all evening, that would just about finish me.
You don't think it's extraordinary that a man who wrote nearly 2,000 years ago should be bang up to date?
No, of course not. That's the definition of a classic.
You're just playing with words.
So, what are we going to do? I take it the cinema's out of the question? Sorry. Shall we eat?
Serge tells me you're quite taken with this painting.
Oh, yes, I am. Quite taken with it, yes. You're not, I gather?
No. Let's go and eat. Serge knows a tasty spot, Lyonnaise.
You think the food's too fatty?
I think the food's a bit on the fatty side, but I don't mind giving it a whirl.
No. If you think the food's too fatty, we'll go somewhere else.
No, I don't mind giving it a whirl, really.
No, we'll go to the restaurant if you think you'll like it. If not, we won't. Do you like ladies?
I'll do whatever you like.
You'll do whatever you like. Whatever you like, you'll always do.
What's the matter with you? You're both acting very strangely this evening.
He's right. You might once in a while have an opinion of your own.
Oh, listen, if you're going to use me as the coconut shell, I'm out of here. I have put up with enough for today.
Where's your sense of humor, Yvonne?
What?
Where's your sense of humor, old chap?
Where's my sense of humor? I don't see anything to laugh at. Where's my sense of humor? Are you trying to be funny?
I think recently you've somewhat lost your sense of humor. You want to watch out. Believe me.
What's the matter with you?
Don't you think I've also somewhat recently lost my sense of humor?
Oh, I see.
All right, that's enough. Let's make a decision. To tell you the truth, I'm not even hungry.
You're both acting very sinister this evening.
You want my opinion on your woman problems?
Go on.
Well, in my view, the most hysterical of them all is Catherine, by far.
No question.
And if you're already letting yourself be pushed around by her, you're in for a hideous future.
What can I do?
Cancel it.
Cancel the wedding?
He's right.
But I can't. Are you crazy?
Why not?
Well, because I can't, that's why. It's all been arranged. I've only been working at the stationery business for a month now.
What's that got to do with it?
It's our uncle's stationery business. He had absolutely no need to take on anyone else, least of all someone who's only ever worked in textiles.
You must do what you like. I told you what I think.
You know, Serge, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but necessarily the first person I'd come to for matrimonial advice. You can't claim to have great success in that field.
Precisely.
I'm not backing out of the wedding! I know Catherine is hysterical, but she has her good points too. It takes someone with certain crucial qualities to marry someone like me. Where are you going to put it?
I don't know yet.
Why don't you put it over there?
Because there it'd be wiped out by the sunlight.
Oh, yes. You know, I thought of you today at the shop. We ran off 500 copies of this poster for this man who paints white flowers, totally white, on a white background.
The entourage is not white.
No, I'm just saying.
You think this painting's not white, Yvonne?
Not entirely, no.
Ah, then what color is it?
Various colors. There's yellow, there's gray, some slightly ochreish lines.
And you're moved by these colors?
Yes, I'm moved by these colors.
You have no fucking substance, Yvonne. You're flabby. Fucking amoeba.
Why are you attacking Yvonne like this?
How could you, Yvonne? And in front of me? In front of me, Yvonne?
What do you mean in front of you? What do you mean in front of you? I find these colors touching, yes, and it's all the same to you. Stop wanting to control everything.
How could you say in front of me you find these colors touching?
Because it's the truth.
The truth? You find these colors touching?
Yes, I find these colors touching.
You find these colors touching, Yvonne?
He finds these colors touching. He's perfectly entitled to.
No, he's not entitled to.
What do you mean he's not entitled to?
He's not entitled.
I'm not entitled to?
No!
Why is he not entitled to? I don't think you're very well. Perhaps you have to go and see someone.
He's not entitled to say he finds his colors touching because he doesn't.
I don't find these colors touching.
There are no colors! You can't see them! And you don't find them touching!
Speak for yourself.
This is really demeaning, Yvonne.
Who do you think you are? Who are you to legislate? You don't like anything. You despise everyone. You take pride in not being a man of your time.
What does that mean, a man of my time?
All right, I am off.
Where are you going?
I'm off. I don't have to put up with your tantrums.
Don't go. You're not going to start taking offense, are you? And if you go, you're giving it at him. A man of his time is a man who lives in his own time.
Bullshit. How is a man supposed to live in any other time but his own? Answer me that.
A man of his time is someone of whom it can be said 20 years or 100 years' time was representative of his era.
Huh. To what end?
What do you mean, to what end?
What use is it to me if one day somebody says I was representative of my era?
Listen, old fruit, we're not talking about you if you can imagine such a thing. We don't give a fuck about you. A man of his time, trying to explain to you, like most people that you admire, is someone who makes some contribution to the human race. A man of his time doesn't think the history of art has come to an end with a pseudo-Flemish view of Cavalion.
Carcassonne.
Same thing. A man of his time plays his part in the fundamental dynamic of evolution.
And that's a good thing in your view.
It's not a good or a bad thing. Why do you always have to moralize? It's just the way things are.
And you, for example, you play your part in this fundamental dynamic of evolution?
I do.
What about Yvonne?
Surely not. What sort of part can an amoeba play?
In his way, Yvonne is a man of his time.
How can you tell? Not from the daub hanging over his mouth.
It's not a dog.
It is a dog.
It is not.
What's the difference? Yvonne represents a certain way of life, a way of thinking which is completely modern. And so do you. I'm sorry, but you're a typical man of your time. And in fact, the harder you try not to be, the more that you are.
Well, that's all right then. So, what's the problem?
There is no problem, except for you. Because you take pride in your desire to shut yourself off from humanity, and you'll never manage it. It's like you're in a quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. Now, apologize to Yvonne.
Yvonne's a coward.